Morning folks. I tried to get some filming done yesterday, but it was just so wet, it was really hard. I probably managed about 6 minutes worth of footage. Back here again today, working on the same thing. I'm not going to say that it's dry today, because there's a big difference between it being dry and it not currently raining. So it's just not currently raining, so we'll see what we can do. Now, the way that I'm showing it at the moment is, obviously it's prior to having any dirt on. So it's a little bit hard to describe how the shape that I want it to come in, but essentially, walk up here a little way. Essentially you're coming out of here and you're going to be coming in at kind of hitting it from this angle. Now the idea is, I'll just walk you through, and it might give a bit of a better idea and feel. The idea is you want to run round this corner here, but it's if I get you to the top of it, I can maybe show you that there's an embankment that's going to be cleared out over the top. So it's the idea is to kick out as far as you can, because you want to clear past this tree. That's where the track's going. Obviously it's not marked out at the moment, so you can't really tell that, but it's as far as you can, and kind of hip up that way and drop in a left shoulder. And the idea to getting this one right will be hitting it at speed and full commitment, and really just before you're ready to put the wheels down, dropping that left shoulder and bringing the right arm round to give you some ride, a smooth ride in and a landing. Sorry, there's a deer just ran past. It's always nice to see him. Anyway, so it's a dry-ish, it's not raining start, so we'll crack on. So we've got as far as lunchtime with only a couple of showers, which can only be a good thing. I've also noticed that the news about Loris and Finn riding specialised bikes has now all kind of been officially announced. Just had a quick read through on my phone on some comments, and there's a couple of coming up saying, "Oh, all those three for the price of Gwyn." I'm not sure if people quite understand. Like Loris and Finn are all signed to a company called Pure Agency. Now their contract was still ongoing with Pure Agency, and it was staggered against Lapierre's. So basically, Lapierre had come in first and started their 3-year stint first, and then those 3 riders came on board afterwards. So basically Lapierre's contract finished and they didn't want to renew it, and Pure Agency still had these 3 riders who were still contracted to them. So what they've done is they've gone in and got specialised as a frame and parts supplier, but it's Pure Agency who are footing the bill for those 3 riders. It's not specialised. They're just stumping up for the frames and such. So it's not really quite how some people are perceiving it. That, oh wow, Gwyn had asked for more money and they said no, and now they've got these 3 riders instead. The only person riding downhill so far for specialised, like specialised factory racing, is Troy Brosnan. Now whether they then bring another rider in to ride with Troy, who knows? I mean, there's still time yet, isn't there? Speaking of time yet, there's the announcement for Aaron Gwyn hasn't dropped yet. I'm sure that there's a lot of people speculating about what's going on with that. My theory is, and again just a theory, is have you heard of a guy called Martin Whiteley, an Australian guy? He has an agency company out in Spain, I believe. It's called 23 Degrees. Brooke McDonald is part of that agency. Now Martin he headed up the Trek World Racing, who were slightly different to Trek Factory, who the Athertons now ride for. It's all like an amazing, complicated soap opera, isn't it? And he had Trek World Racing, so that they weren't a Trek Factory team, although they did have, you know, the big Trek logo, Trek bikes and Trek logos all over the shirts and what have you. Now, that ended. The Trek World Racing finished, and essentially Brooke moved over to, he got the GT offer, and he now rides for GT, and that leaves Martin Whiteley without a rider. Now, for those who's where that's a new name, can you remember back to, or have you read historic stuff about when Greg Minnaar used to ride those Honda bikes? Well, Martin Whiteley's been involved. He was involved with that, and he's been involved with downhill for a long time. He obviously used to have Aaron Gwynn on the team. Now, they had a parting of company when Aaron went to Specialised, and there was a little bit of hoo-ha over it, but that was 3 years ago. And my guess is, I wonder if they're calling that water under the bridge now. You know, it was 3 years ago, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Gwynn and Whiteley back together. I mean, it's not a definite. It's just something as getting into the theory. But I think that there will be a team of multiple sponsors. So rather than just like a frame brand come in and they be the name for the team, I think there'll be a lot of different sponsors, because obviously Gwynny's got a big relationship with Troy Lee, and I believe SRAM as well, and Fox. So that kind of only really leaves a frame company to come in. The question there would be which frame company might it be, and I suppose that's the question on everybody's lips, and I imagine in the next couple of weeks we'll probably find out. Anyway, World Cup, it's great to watch it, innit? I mean, everybody loves watching the Red Bull broadcasts, but even the off season's like a massive soap opera. It's interesting, but I suppose we'll find out soon. So I've just realised I've missed a part out. Before you start making all the stakes, to start to knock in on the around the edges and firm everything in, there is another step that I use, and I don't know what the name for it is or whether it's a legitimate thing, but I call it knocking in, where you just get the sledgehammer and stand all over the structure and basically knock the crap out of it. And you can feel it under your feet. If it wasn't quite positioned perfectly, you can feel it just maybe sink or move sideways a little bit, and you can hear a lot of it as well as you're knocking. You get like if you get a bad fitted one, you get like a hollow sound, and then you keep knocking and it'll go like to a dull thud, and then you know it's seated in and positioned in. But it sounds a bit, I don't know, it sounds a bit Bronze Age or whatever you want to call it, a bit old school, but in theory it works, and I prefer to have everything knocked in and tight and compact with the sledgehammer before I start to put all of the extra supports in. So I just missed that step, and I've already started cutting the stakes, but anyway, I'll grab on and get some more stakes cut and we'll get them banged in. Right folks, excuse me, I've just gnashed up the hill. Starting to use a little bit of light, lose a little bit of light rather, but surprise of the day goes to the 15-footer. I'll just try and, I put some of this in earlier, and yeah, look at, but it's bedding in. We're not sinking feet into it, which is perfect. So I like a few days ago I put this in, and then we've just had blitzed with rain, so this sandy stuff, it's obviously hitting it, draining right the way through at the bottom, which is also pushing particles of the sand downwards and compacting it in, which is great, you know. So it won't take long before this one's sorted out. Now this one was measured from middle of here to the middle of the log there, and it works out at a straight 11 foot. But I also measured to this old tree stump in here, which is where you'll kind of, if you were jumping it, where you'd aim to be putting down. So it's 11 foot log to log, 15 into the actual base of the landing, like the mid tranny. I'll try and give you a look from this direction. It's hard to show the bend of the corner on this a little bit, but it comes in out of the top, out of there, bends down, it'll come up and over, down into here, and then shoot off down in that direction. So anyway, just came to check on it before I packed up. It's bedding in, so that's perfect. So guys, it is starting to get dark now, and when it gets dark, it comes in here fast. I'm just going to give you a walk line in. You might notice that I've had to extend out the length of the berm a little bit so that I can bench cut in further. I've removed a tree out just to help us get in. There's a stump here, you can see that we're going to deal with all of that as we're benching in to give us a clean line in. I've still got, wow, well, I'd have to say maybe a full day's worth of staking left to do to get round it. The staking is, once you've got it all knocked in, did I mention? Yeah, I did. You do the knocking in with the sledgehammer and get it all tight, and then once it's tight, stake it all in. But a lot of stakes on, because you want to hold everything in place while the dirt gets compacted down and gets really hard compacted down on. You want to keep it sturdy and not moving around, otherwise that compaction doesn't work. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me lift up the sledgehammer. Excuse me. And I can set it up on here. And let's get you down towards the bank a little bit. And all this area is to be cleared out right around here, because the arc that you're shooting for and what's going to have to be dug out as well is this old stump here. It'll dig out with the mattocks and everything, but the arc that you're shooting for is to get down and round into here, and in that very, very bottom there is going to be another booter sending you back over that way. So if we look across here, you can sort of see the height of the of a sledgehammer, and you're probably looking to boot to land. Let me just step back a little bit. Let's have a look. Step over by this tree. This might be a better angle. Yeah, it kind of is. So this is the outside of the corner. So I don't know if you can still see on GoPro, but there's the old tree stump there, that if you can see a newly cut one just across from it, that's probably roughly where you're looking to put your wheels down, boot off, up and round, and just before you put down, you'll be dipping that shoulder and bringing it in, a long line round here and down through there. And do you know what, we'll give this a try, but it's dark in here and it's starting to get dark fast. But so the idea is bring you down either one way or the other way through these, between this tree here. I haven't quite decided yet, but bring you down, clear out a path through into here. And what I want to do, excuse me, is just in there. Now that is going to be dark. I might have to do some adjustments on editing, but just in that patch in there, that's a landing zone. So there'll be another booter up and into the landing, and then that snakes you back round again towards the very bottom. So you'll kind of come off this. It'll be a big S shape essentially, with a couple of booters in between. Now I've probably just walked you down a place that you just totally can't see because it's getting dark on the camera, but on this side of things, over just one lot over, like only a few yards to be honest with you, this is the main sort of bottom section for where Beggars Canyon's going to go in. Now Beggars Canyon's going to have to be a bit of it's a bigger project, and that might have to be an ongoing thing. I don't know whether I'll be able to get that done before I'm open, but to be fair, it's a lot of it's cut. You know, there's every possibility. We're going to have to see how the finances and things play out, and there's a few things going on kind of behind the scenes at the moment. I'll show you very much kind of day-to-day digging and building tasks and what have you, but there's a few things going on back of the house. Imagine like when I'm doing desk work. I'm rambling now because I'm tired. Trying to sort out some finances basically. Most of you will know that I packed in my job like a year ago now, so I haven't earned any money for a year. and I've spent a lot of money, so it's time to get that sorted out, ready for the new year. And there's a lot of work with that sort of stuff going on, but you know, there's like times that during the day there's rock all you could do about it, you know what I mean? You can sit behind a desk in the evenings, so might as well be up here actually cracking on and building. Anyway, I'm presuming I might have to scrap all of this because it's dark. So folks, we've got to the end of the day. Gonna have to start packing up now. It is starting to get dark. As I say, it does come in here quite fast. Still got a full day's worth, possibly a full day, I don't know, I might get it done 6 hours or so, worth of staking out and putting round. I'll make that all tight and bedded in, and then I can get some dirt on it and start to shape some stuff. We can have a bit of a clear up around here in the landing, get that squared up, and I just can't wait to test this full line. There's still a couple of features that I want to put in it yet. I mean, there's two major kind of wooden ones that I've built, but there's still another one down there that I perhaps spoke about earlier. But there is some stuff in that midsection that I want to put in. There is an off-camber cut across that I don't want to touch really. I just want to leave it off-camber and rooty because it gives it that old school feel of, you know, negotiating across, and you can really sort of feel proud of yourself if you manage to hold speed over it. So I don't really want to touch the off-camber section, but the section leading into it, which I'll show you later on as we get through things, which is, if I can hold you up, it's kind of way up the back there, but that section leading into it I want to put a couple more features in. So we'll crack on, pack up and go and get some tea. Thanks very much for your time, and I'll see you soon.